Hello, and welcome back to the channel. If you're here, you're probably trying to figure out whether the guy you're seeing is emotionally mature or still a little, let's say, underdeveloped in the emotional department. Well, today, we're diving into something that's super important, but often overlooked when it comes to relationships. We're talking about the signs that a man may be emotionally immature, and why smart women really don't waste their time on this kind of behavior. Before we start, let me just say this: emotional maturity is key to any lasting, meaningful connection. It's not about having the perfect looks or even the best job. It's about being able to connect, communicate, and grow together. So, if you're on this journey of understanding what makes someone emotionally mature or not, you've come to the right place. Let's get into it. Now, we all know relationships can be complex, right? There's so much that goes into them. Chemistry, timing, compatibility, and of course, emotional intelligence. Emotional maturity is a huge part of that. It means that a person knows how to handle their feelings, communicate effectively, and make thoughtful decisions. But sometimes, you might find yourself in a situation where the man you're with doesn't seem to check any of those boxes. Maybe he's charming at first, but soon enough you start noticing some patterns that make you raise an eyebrow. The little things that make you go, is this really what I want in the long run? And that's what we're talking about today, the subtle signs of emotional immaturity. If you catch yourself wondering whether the guy you're with is emotionally mature enough to build a future with, these signs might just help you understand what's going on beneath the surface. One of the first signs of emotional immaturity is avoiding responsibility. You might have noticed this if you've been with a guy who constantly shifts the blame onto others. Maybe something goes wrong, and instead of owning up to it or discussing it like an adult, he'll act like it's someone else's fault or that the issue doesn't even exist. You know how this goes. He says he'll do something and then forgets about it, or he's quick to point fingers when something's off. It's never his fault. This is classic emotional immaturity. Responsible adults own their mistakes, learn from them, and move forward. But if he's dodging accountability, it's a sign that he hasn't quite figured out how to be an emotionally responsible partner. It's easy to be swept up in someone's charm at first, but eventually that pattern of blame and avoidance can take a toll. And smart women? Well, they see this early on and know it's a red flag. Why? Because it's clear that emotional growth isn't happening. If he can't handle responsibility, it's going to be a struggle when life gets tough. Another telltale sign of emotional immaturity is inconsistent communication. At first, everything might feel like smooth sailing. He texts back quickly, calls when he says he will, and seems genuinely interested. But then, suddenly, the communication starts to ebb and flow. One minute, he's all in, expressing interest, making plans, and the next, he's distant, silent, or just vague about what he's feeling. This inconsistency can drive anyone crazy, but when it's happening regularly, it's often a sign of someone who's emotionally immature. Emotional maturity involves being able to communicate your thoughts and feelings honestly and consistently. If a guy can't do that, it's a red flag. And let's face it, ladies, smart women don't have the time or energy for games. They want someone who can communicate openly, someone who can be vulnerable, and someone who values honest dialogue. When a man's communication is all over the place, it's not just frustrating, it's draining. And that's exactly why emotionally immature guys often find themselves without the long-term relationships they want. Smart women can sense when the communication is more of a roller coaster than a steady stream, and they know to keep it moving. Now, here's where things can get a little tricky. Emotional outbursts are another clear sign of emotional immaturity. We're not talking about being upset when something serious happens. Everyone gets angry or upset from time to time. What we're talking about is the lack of control, the inability to process emotions in a healthy way. Does he get easily frustrated over small things? Does he shut down or lash out when he's feeling cornered? These are signs that he hasn't developed the emotional intelligence to manage stress, disappointment, or frustration in a mature way. In relationships, it's normal to disagree or even argue now and then, but when those disagreements lead to wild emotional reactions, it's not a good sign. A man who's emotionally immature might raise his voice or even go silent for days when things aren't going his way. This behavior not only makes things awkward, but shows that he's not ready to handle the ups and downs that come with any relationship. Smart women. They don't stick around for emotional roller coasters. They know they deserve someone who can handle tough emotions with grace and maturity, not someone who reacts in extremes every time things don't go according to plan. Next up, let's talk about empathy, or rather the lack of it. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It's a huge component of emotional maturity. But when a guy can't empathize, it's a big problem. If he seems uninterested in how you're feeling, dismisses your emotions, or makes everything about him, that's a huge red flag. Emotional immaturity often shows up in relationships when someone struggles to connect with their partner's emotional experience. It might look like him ignoring your feelings, trying to fix everything instead of just listening, or brushing off your emotions as if they don't matter. Smart women are incredibly perceptive, and they know that a relationship without empathy isn't worth pursuing. Why? Because empathy creates intimacy, and without it, the connection feels shallow. No one wants to be in a relationship where their feelings are consistently invalidated, and emotionally immature guys often don't even realize the harm they're causing. Finally, let's talk about commitment, or rather, the fear of it. Commitment is something that emotionally mature people are comfortable with, but if he's emotionally immature, the mere thought of long-term commitment might send him running for the hills. He might talk about his fear of relationships or give excuses for why he's not ready to settle down. Maybe he'll say things like, "I'm just not in the right place right now," or "I need more time to figure things out." These are common phrases used by emotionally immature people who are afraid of committing. Fear of commitment is rooted in emotional immaturity because it shows an unwillingness to face the challenges that come with building a lasting relationship. A guy who isn't ready to commit might not know how to handle the vulnerability that comes with being in a serious, long-term relationship. And for women who are looking for something real, this kind of fear is a deal breaker. Smart women know that they don't have time to wait around for someone who isn't ready to meet them halfway. So, there you have it. 5 signs that a man may be emotionally immature, and why smart women don't settle for these behaviors. Emotional maturity isn't something that just magically appears one day. It takes self-awareness, growth, and a willingness to face challenges head-on. Remember, relationships require mutual respect, communication, and emotional intelligence. If you're noticing these red flags, it's important to take a step back and evaluate whether this relationship has the foundation to grow, or if it's better to move on. Smart women know their worth, and they don't waste time with someone who isn't ready to show up as their best self. So what do you think? Have you experienced any of these signs before? Or maybe you're seeing them in someone right now? Drop a comment below and let's chat about it. And as always, if you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.